Let's continue with Lab 2. In this lab, you'll make the fluid look more like water, and then you'll render the simulation as an animation. Goals for the lesson: change the transparency settings of the fluid to make it look more like water, add color and texture to the rest of the scene, render the simulation as an animation. Transparency. The transparency mini window is a set of buttons and sliders that control how reflective and transparent a material is. If a material is reflective, that means that rays of light will bounce off it. If the material is very reflective, it can reflect an image as a mirror does. Transparent means see-through. A very transparent material, for example, a window, can be seen through. Soon, you'll use the transparency mini window to make the fluid look more like water. But first, a quiz. A material that rays of light will bounce off of is also called a fluid, a window, transparent, reflective. The correct answer is D, reflective. Transparency. The transparency window has many settings to create different effects. Click the buttons to learn about the settings you'll be using. Ray trace. The ray trace button turns on ray tracing for the material's reflectivity. This means that Blender will calculate how rays of light bounce off the object when it's rendered. Fresnel field. The Fresnel field's number controls how reflective the material is based on where and from what angle the camera is looking at the material. Blend field. The blend field's number controls the amount of blending between the object's color and transparency. IOR field. The IOR field's number is the index of refraction or distortion of the light that passes through a transparent object. The higher the number, the more distorted the transparent object looks. Reflectivity field. The reflectivity field lets you control how reflective the material is. The higher the number, the more reflective the material will be. All right, so hopefully you still have your properties panel up. What we need to do is I'm going to set my current frame to 0, and I'm going to right click on the fluid. Okay. Next, come over to your properties panel and find your materials button and click on it. Very good. Then click new. And then you're going to click on the diffuse color of the material button. And they had a really specific RGB quality that they were going for, but honestly, we're just looking for a nice little blue color over here, so you can just grab and drag it over there if you want to. If you're interested in the specific settings that they used, they were 0.615 tab, 0.878 tab, and 0.947 enter. And as you can see, that area isn't too far off from where we were at. So just pick a color in that general area. Okay, next we're looking for mirror. There it is. Ding, scroll down to mirror, click on that. And it looks like we need to click the drop down arrow here so that we can get to the reflectivity. Let's change the reflectivity field to 0.37, enter. And then we're looking for transparency. Okay, transparency is just above that. Click on transparency, and you're going to turn on ray trace by clicking over here on the right. Ray trace, very good. And then that's where we're going to find that IOR field. Was that intensity of reflection, something like that? We're going to set that to 1.72. Enter. This controls how distorted the rays of light are when they pass through this liquid. And then we're looking for Fresnel. Here it is, Fresnel. And we're going to change that to 2.1. Hit enter. This controls how reflective the material is based on where the camera is. And then we're looking for the blend field. We're going to change the blend field to 1.61 and hit enter. This controls the amount of blending between the object's color and its transparency. Okay, so now we're going to add a little texture, a ripple that is. So in your properties box, you've got texture. It's the little checker box. So click on that. And then you're going to click add new. Here is the type, the texture type. Click on that. And we'll choose clouds. Then click on the material button in the middle here. And we're looking for the influence tab. Here it is. You're going to have to scroll down a little bit. All right, there's the influence tab. We're going to click this color and deselect it. And then come over under geometry and click to select normal. You're going to set the normal to 1.55, enter, and this will add the ripple to the water based on this texture setting. Okay, next you're going to add color and texture to your sphere. So you're just going to right click on your sphere, and I think I might go ahead and click on the material view. I'm not sure, maybe the rendered view. Oh, maybe material. Because I want to be able to see the changes that I'm making. And I noticed right off that my sphere is really like cuboidal, and I need to smooth that. So let's see. If I go into tools, there's smooth. So on your tools panel over to the left, if you click on smooth, you'll notice that now it is a smooth round ball. Okay, so don't skip that step. All right. It's gonna look much better than if it looked like a disco globe. Now to change the color of it, you just come over here to your properties panel and click on the material button. And for whatever reason, I had to scroll way up. It was at the bottom, so I just had to scroll up, and now I can click new. And once I do that, I can pick the color that I want to make this sphere. So I'm just going to click on that, and I'll go for red. And part of the reason why this isn't looking so great is because my light is in a weird place. So I'm actually going to try to find my light, and I think I'm going to move it along the y-axis. So I'm going to go GY, and I'm going to bring it forward so that I can see what I'm doing. Yes, that's so much better. And I can hit the 1 if I want front view again. So I can see all these beautiful changes that I'm making. So right click to select your sphere, and back where I was at, I had picked a nice red color for it, and I can click on the texture setting now. And for some reason, I have to scroll up. So if you're not seeing anything, just look for the scroll bar on the right and slide it up and click new. And in your type drop-down menu, decide what type you'd like. I might go for marble. That looks pretty cool. I'm gonna click on, that's how it's looking right now. You can go and scroll all the way down to the color. I wish that color was a little, I could probably minimize all of these. Oops, so I could see the color at the same time. Almost. I want to be able to see what I'm doing. So you can see the pink color now. You can change that and you can see the changes. Now remember your blue water, your water is about that color. So you might want to do something that contrasts really well with it. I'm going to go with that. Hit enter. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. I'll show what just happened there. Oh, I'm on H. There's 3 different settings. Wow, you can just really go for lots of different colors. I'm bringing that. Ooh. Yeah, this is the fun part. Okay, I just want it to be simple, and all of a sudden it's not simple anymore. Oh. Okay, there. I clicked on the blue again, and that little box went away. All right. So once you get that, okay, let's right click and select the fluid. And I want to smooth that one too. So I'm going to click smooth over in the tool shelf. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to render a single frame instead of the whole thing so we can just kind of see what it looks like. So you're going to hit F12, the function 12 key at the top of your keyboard. Click back on 3D view. It wants us to add a couple of more lights. So I'm going to go into the create, and we have lamps down here, or you can always go to your add lamps and add your lamps there. So I'm just going to add a point light and take a look at where that's at. You can bring that where you like, and then I'll add another point light. I'll just put my cursor where I want it. You know, you can do that wherever you put your cursor is where it's going to be. So I think I'll just put one right over here. Perfect. And maybe I'll drag that around a little bit and kind of see where that looks best. I'm going to go ahead and do F12 and see if that looks better. And then what I'm thinking is I need to move my camera. So I'm going to go and get myself back into 3D view. And I'm going to grab my camera. I'm going to right click on it and move it so that I'm getting a different view. You can, oopsie, make sure that you've got your camera and hit R and rotate it. You can hit R again and it will rotate it at a different axis. Okay, and you can also hit, what's the key, 0 to see what exactly you're taking a picture of. That's great to know. And then you can hit your 1 again and come back to your camera and go, okay, so it's way too close. I need to grab it. I'm just going to hit G and I'm going to grab it and I'm going to move it back some more. And then I'm going to hit 0 and I go, oh, that's not what I was going for either. And I'll hit 0 again and that'll bring me back to where I was. Go with that. So do take the time to make sure that you have your camera at a good angle so that you can get the whole entire experience. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm gonna hit 0 and bring it back into my normal view. Use Control and slide that over. All right, here we go. Gonna hit F12 and render a frame. Sweet. Okay, so I went over everything again with a fine-tooth comb and we didn't miss anything. So we're just gonna go ahead and say File, Save As, and just go ahead and change that to Fluid version 2 for Lab 2 and hit Enter twice. And then I think we're gonna render. Okay, do you remember how to do that? You're going to click the camera. And first we have to make sure that we change it to an AVI RAW, okay? And then we have to make sure that we designate where it's going to save that AVI folder to. So click on here and go for your 3D animation folder, the Unit 7 fluid, and you can name this first and last name, Unit 7 fluid, or you could just say fluid dot, well, fluid. That'll do, I think. Pretty sure it'll automatically add the AVI to it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and click accept. And you. All right, so what I remember I was saying that it goes all the way up to 250. And if you press play, like, how far does it really need to go? Like, I'm thinking 90 is plenty. So I'm gonna hit my end slide at 90, hit enter, and put this at the current slide at 1, and I'm gonna press play again. This is what it's gonna look like if I only do 90 frames. That's plenty, don't you think? Okay, so it does look like it renders really slowly, so I think I'm going to change this to 25%. Okay, and go ahead and pause this and click animation, and let's see how quickly this renders. Right now I feel like I need to have my camera with some of this cropped off over here and being able to see more of the bottom. So if I were a perfectionist, I would probably cancel this render and adjust my camera so I can see more of this area down here. I mean, I'm not gonna get down on you for, you know, that, because I know that this is already kind of challenging enough, and you've done a good job if you've hung with it this far. Awesome. Once it's done, you can click on render, play rendered animation, and you can watch that. Whee! Let me show you what you need to do. Go back into your Unit 7 folder and scroll down and look for the Dropbox. Click on your Dropbox, and you're going to submit the 2 files with your first and last name at the beginning of the file names, your Blender file and your movie.avi file. All right, which is wherever you save that in your C or D drive in your 3D animation folder in that Unit 7 fluid way. This is the one that I'm going to be submitting, and my Blender version 2. So just submit both of those and you're done. Good job.